Worked out the double audio. Hey, everybody out there. Thank you for tuning into The Divide. You are here listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. So if you're watching, drop a comment, hit a share, and get this out there to everybody out there under the sun. And definitely drop a heart. If you drop a comment in the comments, I'll do my best to pop your comments up. Do be sure to make sure that you are commenting, even if it's just an American flag to support, because if you drop an American flag in the comments, that shows that you support the show. So as we get into it today, you are listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on 106.3 WRFZ Rochester Free Radio. We are the #1 top conservative radio show in upstate New York, and we appreciate you for tuning in today. As always, you might not be happy with some of the things that you hear. You might feel some type of way. And if you feel some type of way, this probably isn't the show for you. So I encourage you to turn it off now and do not follow through. And if you continue to watch, already know, I hope you're not sensitive, because you might feel some type of way today, as in every day. All right, so let's jump into it. First off, let's make sure that you guys, wherever you're watching from, and you guys, if you're watching, you can drop some comments to tell us where you're watching from, and make sure that you're getting involved locally with your local candidates this year that are running for office, so that you can help make a change in your local area. Because it starts at home. It starts right in our backyard. Every day is where we can make the biggest impact. Too many people are worried about what's going on with the federal government, specifically the president. And it boggles my mind, because they're so worried about the president, but they're never concerned about Congress, the House of Representatives, or the Senate. And I got a lot to, if you guys follow me, you guys know I got a lot to say on Senate and on the House of Representatives. I'm not a big fan of either of them. I can probably count on both hands how many people I actually like in overall continuously in them. And that's a serious problem, because you're talking about a couple hundred people. So, but the fact of the matter is, far too often, people are distracted by the presidency, because the president is a figurehead. The president only has limited authority and limited power. And that basically comes into overarching trade decisions and what happens militarily. In this case, in this operation right here under the current administration, under President Trump, we've seen them very much so go after immigration, which is also one of the president's responsibilities, to protect our borders and protect our shores. Okay. But nobody's talking about Congress. No, I haven't heard anybody really talk about the Senate or the House of Representatives or any of the laws that are being passed in there. Every now and then somebody will be like, oh, they're trying to take your Social Security, which is a lie. That's a lie. That's not happening. That's not a thing. But nobody's talking about the proposals that are being proposed by the Democrat Party. Occasionally, you'll hear somebody talk about the proposals that are being done by the Republican Party, but even still, not too much. Not too much at all. And these are important bills. And that's how the work in government gets done. But we don't talk about that. And the question is, why? Because everybody's distracted by the president, because the president is the figurehead. You know, and that's a serious issue. That's why I encourage everybody to get involved locally. Because forget the presidency. What's happening in our own backyards is where we can make the real difference. Right here, where we live, in our own backyards, is where the change needs to be. We have to fix our own house before we worry about everything else. And to go right off of that, I'd say this is what I would like to see and how I'd like to see the United States operate ideally. As many of you know, I'm not a big government fan. Okay. I'm not. I don't really care for the government. Okay. The two-party system, whatever the case is, not a fan. Yes, I am a Republican, a registered Republican, and I stand on the traditional and foundational values of the Republican Party. I am a conservative, and I am Christian. So, and I don't back down from any of that. But the fact of the matter is, our government was founded on small, localized government. And over the decades and centuries, I guess we're, 2.5 centuries old now, about to be 250, happy birthday, America, #1. But as our country has grown, the government has become a bloated monstrosity that cares nothing about anything but perpetuating its own self. And that's very problematic for us as citizens. What's happened is both the state level and the federal level government have taken the power away from the people, and we need to shrink our government and restore the power to the people, because that's where you can make impact, is on the local level. The closer the government is to home, the more impact that you can have as an individual. I would definitely prefer that my government is so small it can fit in the palm of my hand and I could crush it if I need to. This is real serious what we've ended up with as far as government goes, and the shape and the form of it. We're supposed to be a representative republic, okay, a constitutional representative republic, because we have a constitution where we elect the representatives that represent us. Now, I don't know where you live, but in my city, our city council doesn't really represent us. That's probably the biggest reason I'm running for city council this year. But that's also why I encourage you all to get active. I don't just talk about the things here on the radio show that I'm like, oh, people should get involved locally. No, I'm very involved locally with local politics. I go to the meetings, I speak at the meetings, I read the documents, I read the proposals, I do my best. I don't get paid for that. I wish I did. Lord bless, may I get paid to do all of that, because I think it's very important and it's a civic duty. Let me find some way to get paid and do those things that are so important and crucial for our community. But not a lot of people go to the meetings, or you can pick what you want. Fire district, school board, city council, town council, whatever. Not a lot of people go. So they don't know what's going on. And it's not like we've got most elected officials coming out to say, hey, this is the bill that we're doing this week, or this is what we're working on, or this is what's going on. No, especially on the local level, they count on you being distracted by the presidency, by the federal level of government. So you're not talking about local politics. Every now and then, like for instance, I live in a blue city in a blue state. The crime is terrible. The drugs are terrible. The prostitution and human trafficking is terrible. The educational system is terrible. It's all pretty bad. The housing economy is terrible. Okay, it's real bad. But occasionally you'll hear the news talk about one of these things, or crime or something like that. But you don't see our city council people talking about the issues and what they're doing to address it. They don't come out until it's election time. Then all of a sudden they care. Where have they been the last 4 years that they've been in office? Nobody knows. You know, they've been unseen, unheard, crickets in the background, just stuffing money into their pockets as individuals and putting money in the pockets of their benefactors. That's it. Straightforward, very straightforward. This is what's going on in our local communities. And I'm sure, depending on where you live, it's probably not much better where you live in many places across the country. And God bless you if it is much better where you live. Real quick, hit the heart button, hit the like button, share this out. If you're not subscribed, be sure to hit subscribe and follow, okay? And you can also donate to the show. We're working to raise between $25 and $100 an episode, so we can get some more airtime, so we can actually share more with people more often, because these are important conversations that we need to have. So you can donate on Cash App, $MWReal1 on Cash App. That's $MWReal, the number one. We also have Venmo and PayPal, and you can do at Marcus C. Williams. All right, let's get right back into it. So now, as we talk about the distraction that's coming from the federal level, specifically the president level, because I mean, let's be honest, whether you love him or you hate him, the President Trump, he's a great bad guy, whether you love him or hate him. And that's probably a real big problem that we don't talk about. Mostly everything that he does is hyped up and souped up by the news media and everything, and it's either catastrophized or aggrandized, and it's not practical to focus on these issues. I was watching a hearing from Eurocom, right? Our European command bases over there, and they were testifying before Congress of why it's so important that we have presence in Europe. So we've got a number of European bases over there, and we've got a ton of nukes over there, apparently. A ton of nukes. He said, yeah, we got nuclear weapons over there, but we can't talk about it. It's all classified. So I'm sure we got nuclear missiles over there. We probably got suitcase nukes and all types of other stuff. Mobile batteries and all types of stuff, I'm sure. It's real crazy. But the fact of the matter is we do have those things and we do have a footprint in Europe, and it's so that we can keep America safe. Less for Europe, more for us, because look at what happened last time. They couldn't defend themselves and they was all squabbling and they went right in with the Nazis. They're like, okay, well, whatever. Some countries resisted for a little, but most of them just kind of gave up. And we're concerned that that might happen again. And so to make sure that we can assure that that doesn't happen again, we have a number of bases in Europe, but not just in Europe. We have a whole nuclear umbrella across the world. Africa, Asia, all types of places. I'm sure South America too. I'm not positive we're in South America, but I'm sure South America too, and various islands across the oceans. Now, this is something that we don't talk about a lot, but we have it for the protection of the United States of America. So a lot of times people are like, oh, well, this and this and that and that, and this is going to happen in Europe, and Russia's just going to roll over in Europe and this and that. It's not going to happen. We got nukes in Europe. We will blow Russia back to the Stone Age. Russia got a dead hand protocol over there, so they'll blow us back to the Stone Age too, and we'll have a complete nuclear holocaust. But I mean, hey, it's not like they about to just roll up into Europe. That's like what's not happening. There might be a couple of smaller nations where we don't have any bases or anything like that, but they're not going into what we consider to be Western Europe proper, France, Germany, stuff like that. They're not going in there. It's not about to happen. And I doubt that they're even going to go into Poland, but that Poland situation is a whole separate conversation. So when they're like, oh, Russia's going to go after the rest of Europe. No, maybe some of their former satellite states, maybe. But they don't care. Europe doesn't care about the satellite states either, because they're largely small, meager, and underdeveloped. And that's not an insult. That's just an economic and military assessment. But can we have that serious conversation? So this is a reason why we need troops stationed all across the world. Not that that's something that I necessarily want, but we need to project strength. And because of that, we need manpower. So I want to use that as a way to get into the conversation about the recruiting in the military and how it has skyrocketed under the current administration and the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, which is another distraction. Like they're like, oh, well, he sent messages in the signal chat and this, that, and the third, and da, 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 da. Y'all mad? Really? Really? Are you mad? I don't think you're actually mad at that. I think you just want something to talk about. I don't think you're mad that he sent that out. And they're like, well, what if an enemy got it or whatever the case is, da, 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 da. Are you serious? Like, you're just playing in my face. You guys have dragged that man every day since he got nominated because he's a hardcore Christian and you don't like it. And I say that as we are right up after Easter, the day after Easter, okay, he is risen. Hallelujah, amen. And the day after Easter, the Pope was declared dead, okay? And that's very interesting as well. The Pope died right after Easter or on Easter, As you guys know, I'm a very strong advocate for Christianity. I encourage you guys to read the Bible and lean towards the teachings of Christ so that you can get more closer to our Father in heaven above, because that's all what it's about, is about getting closer to our Father in heaven. And I think many people lose that message. But read the Bible. It's important. Okay? Now, as far as the Pope goes, the Pope's gone now. We need a new Pope, and I hope we get a real serious Pope that stands on biblical principles and morals and values, because the last one that we have didn't. I was quite through with the last Pope when he got up there and said, oh, all religions lead to heaven. You done lost your rabid mind. Show it to me in Scripture. He made me get real Martin Luther. You know what I'm saying? Show it to me in Scripture. If you guys aren't familiar with the Christian Reformation and Martin Luther and his 95, 96 thesis, however many theses he had a lot of them. He had a lot of complaints where basically the Pope is supposed to be infallible and all of this other stuff that is the way that the Catholic Church is, or whatever the case is. But my man said that all roads lead to heaven. Is he outside of his mind? And he's supposed to be the patriarch of Catholicism and the church, right? Like, that's what we call Catholicism. We call the Catholic religion the church. How dare you? That's apostasy. And like I said, somebody's going to feel some type of way, but that is a whole fact. That is a whole fact. If the patriarch of the religion, and I use the term patriarch loosely, but if the person that's in charge of supposed to be the head of the religion, supposed to go by the Bible, supposed to go by scripture, and the Catholics, they love their tradition, supposed to go by tradition, you out here saying that all religions lead to God, you lost your rabbit mind. I'm surprised they didn't take that. Well, I mean, you can't because of the way the processes work, but they should have took the little beanie off his head and booted him out the Vatican. Like, that's crazy to say something like that. And I know somebody's going to feel some type of way, but I said everything that I said. Because I am a Christian, it is my duty to rebuke all types of heresy and apostasy that I see and encourage my brethren to do much better. And his whole tenure, he kept doing worse and worse crazy stuff. I remember the first issue that I had with him, and this isn't like me speaking ill of the dead. This is some real foul stuff that he did, supposed to be the leader of Christianity. Okay, whether you agree with it or not, the Orthodox as well and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but he was up there on the stage in Brazil, because he's from Brazil, at Carnival or whatever the case is, and he had these what do you call them? The women, man, the men, women, whatever you call them. Okay, she-males, whatever. Okay, I don't even know what you call them anymore, because now in America we want to say that everybody is trans, and that's a whole nother pot and kettle, and I'm not even getting into that nonsense. Okay, but he's got these I guess female is the proper term for that in Brazil, right? So he's got these people out there dancing and stuff on the stage with him and all types of crazy nonsense, and I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Listen, that's what Sodom and Gomorrah got hit with for. Okay, like, you can't be propagating this type of this type of stuff. Like, and he didn't rebuke it, and he didn't say nothing about it, and all types of stuff. And that's a problem. And this is a serious issue that I take with all of our Christian leaders right now. Why are they not standing up against the things that are clearly anti-biblical that are going on in our society right now? We've got so many elected officials in the United States of America that claim to be Christian, but they go against Christian morals and biblical scriptural teaching all the time in the legislation that they actually hold. Where's the conversation on that? Can we get some actual so-called Christian leaders and Christian preachers to stand up? And I got a lot of rebukes for everybody out there preaching the prosperity gospel. Don't get me started, okay? It's not what this episode is about, but I got a lot of rebukes for them. And you say, well, Marcus, well, why are you so harsh on them? Because they are supposed to be me, right? Like, as a Christian, we're supposed to hold our brethren and sisters to a higher caliber, to a higher standing. That is our duty as Christians, which is another thing that doesn't happen often enough. Where are the Christians out there telling Christians that they need to do better? Because they're not. The only people that we see that are so-called Christians, and really they're apostates, don't get me started, calling out Christians and saying, oh, Christians shouldn't do that, are the crazy people that don't go by scripture anyway. It's the people in the Unitarian Church. No offense, the Unitarian Church need to get right with God, because y'all clearly don't follow the Bible. It's the the people, the apostolic, okay, the apostolic church, which is not following the Bible. Y'all need to get back right with Christ, okay, and his teachings. Like, and you definitely not following the Lord our Father in heaven. Y'all tripping. Y'all out here preaching all types of stuff that is anti-biblical, anti-scriptural, and other Christians are just like, let them do it. It's okay. It's not okay. They are out there actively mocking our religion, and you're saying nothing. I don't know if you guys saw in San Francisco yesterday, okay, that they had these, I guess, drag queens. I don't even know if you want to call them drag queens, okay? Demons, active demons is what they are, okay, out there mocking the death and sacrifice of Christ, okay, the Lord our Savior, okay? And this is very serious on Easter. On Easter, and let me take a second to note that he died to give us the ability to reconcile with the Lord our Father in heaven. And even for these people that are jackbutts, and I hope they all come to Christ and come to the teachings of Jesus and turn to the Lord himself, our Father in heaven, because, I mean, they need him more than a lot of us need him. We all need him a lot, because this world is so corrupt and terrible. But them, of all people out there, propagating sacrilegious acts all types of sexual acts in a depiction of Jesus and stuff like that. Now, let me point out this. If they did that in relation to Judaism, oh, it would be a whole war. It'll be on every channel on the TV. It'll be a real serious problem. If they did something like that in relation to the Prophet Muhammad, oh, they'd be chasing them down in the street trying to hang them from trees. Like, it'd be real serious. They'd be trying to burn them with tires in the street. The Muslims wouldn't go for that. The Jews wouldn't go for that. So why are the Christians going for that? All this weak foo-foo Christianity that's been sold for the last couple of decades is exactly why the erosion of Christianity is happening in the United States of America. It's also exactly why the fastest growing branch of Christianity is the Orthodoxy, because people want that tradition. People want that strength of will. People want those values, and we need them more so than ever. Honestly, at this point with the Pope dead, I'm kind of like, may we please get somebody that is a real holy man that follows the actual scriptures and stands on business. You know what I'm saying? Heck, maybe we need an Orthodox Pope, right? Maybe we need an Orthodox cardinal, a bishop or whatever to become the Pope of the Catholic Church, because clearly they ain't getting it right. And then I guess, like, I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you can drop a comment. I think it's something like 173 or 196 cardinals or something like that, or whatever the case is. It's less than 200. And 86 or 89 of them were put in place by the current Pope, well, the previous Pope who just passed. I'm like, if he is the person who's putting them in there, they must not be too much of no good. Because this is a complete corruption of our religion. And that's foul. And I'm not with it at all. So it's these type of issues that we need to be having open conversations with. Okay. And then some people might get mad. Oh, well, you're talking about the Pope. Am I not supposed to? I read the Bible. Do you read the Bible? He ain't acting right. I'm supposed to say something about it. You tripping. You not saying nothing about it. Why you not saying nothing about it? How you get offended? Right? Like, we need to have that conversation. If you guys are following us right now online, please do drop a comment, drop something out there, hit a thumbs up or whatever the case is. I'll do my best to pop your comment up and we can talk about it. Okay. Hit the thumbs up, hit the heart, hit a share button, and make sure that you're following the page or subscribe. Okay. Now, as we continue, I want to get back to the Pete Hegseth thing, because again, he's a devout Christian and they've been attacking him since day one. Day one. Because he stands on business. And they're like, oh, well, he's got these signal chats. What if he was a sender to the enemy? You don't care about that. You just want him gone because he stands on business and he might actually restore our military, which now we have the highest military recruitment. We even got people that got out of the military coming back in because of this man and our current president. Like, can we have that conversation? No. Military readiness is at an all-time high. We can't have that conversation. They're working on improving the logistics and the equipment of our servicemen and women. Like, we can't have that conversation, though. Nobody wants to have that conversation. They want to pretend that they mad or whatever. Okay, you ain't mad. You just trying to drag somebody. If you want to raise an honest and an earnest concern and say, oh, well, this might have gotten out to our enemies. Which enemies? Who enemies? Are you the enemy of the American public? Would the enemy be using your profile online or whatever the case is? Is that a thing? Because if the enemy might be using yours, they might be using anybody else's. And if that's the case, then there's just no point in even having that conversation, because it's just another never-ending thing. But people don't want to have a real conversation when it comes to stuff like that. Right now, they also want to talk about these trade issues and stuff like that. And that's the biggest thing on the top of many people's heads. And I'm like, you guys don't even understand how international trade works, or the fact that every 5 seconds we're close to World War III and we might be in a battle in which our supply lines get cut off because we are too reliant on China, which is the active enemy of the United States of America. But can we have that conversation? No, because these people just swear to goodness that they know so much that isn't so. And it's very, very problematic. But we don't seem to want to talk about it. And when you address those issues with them, they don't want to have that conversation, because then they might have to question exactly what they think and what they believe and what they've been told is true. Real quick, hit a heart, hit a thumbs up. I see you watching out there. Hit the thumbs up, hit the heart button, hit the like, share this on your page, and drop a comment in the comments, even if it's just an American flag. Everybody watching right now, take 2 seconds, drop an American flag in the comments. So as we have this conversation about what's going on with our nation and the direction that we're going, these people talking about the terrorists have the complete wrong concept in their heads. They're talking about, oh, well, it's going to make stuff cost more, or it's going to hurt us. And what, how, right? Like the people that say, oh, well, it's going to raise the cost of some goods. That's a valid conversation. Okay. But we're going to have some temporary pain while we work on reshoring all of the manufacturing and stuff to the US. But more so than anything, the majority of the countries that have tariffs, that was just a tool for the president to negotiate other agreements with. And he said that out his mouth to begin with. And it's like people just don't listen. Like, I mean, honestly, and this is crazy. This is really crazy to me. Whether you love him or whether you hate him, okay? He's been very straightforward on almost every single topic. Again, it don't matter whether you like him or don't like him. That is a fact that we can all agree on. He said he's going to get rid of he's going to deport people. He deporting everybody. Good. You understand what I'm saying? He said he's going to rebuild the military. He's rebuilding the military. Okay. He said he's going to reshore manufacturing to the United States. He's doing that. Like, now the way that he does these things, you might disagree with or whatever the case is, but he's doing it. It wasn't to be unexpected. And then most of the time he's been telling us exactly how he's going to do it. And now people are mad. I don't know what to tell you. If he told you that he was going to do it, that's what he's going to do. You know what I'm saying? It's quite like somebody telling you, oh, well, they're gonna shoot you or something like that. Well, shoot, thank you for letting me know. Okay, because that means that I got to get you first now. You understand what I'm saying? Like the man ran on exactly what he said he was going to do, and now he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Now you mad? How you mad? He told you. Matter of fact, while I am a stalwart Republican and I've been for some years, I've always been conservative, right? Raised in a conservative family, raised in the church and stuff like that. But I didn't know that my values were mostly aligned with the Republican Party because I am conservative and I'm a traditionalist and I'm a constitutionalist. So what made me change my party was two things. I saw the way that the Democrats were treating other Democrats on the local level. And I was like, oh no, those people seem pretty decent. I might actually be able to vote for them, and you trashing them? That sounds wrong. And this was the Monroe County Democrat Party. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all really at these other candidates? Ain't you all supposed to be Democrats? Like, and I'm not talking about like trash people. I'm talking about people that were generally decent. Okay. Now you guys know me saying that somebody's generally decent is high praise for me. Okay. But I'm like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And then the last straw that broke the camel's back with the Democrats was when Trump was running for president the first time, right? Trump was running for president. He said everything that he was going to do and what he was standing on, right? One of the number one things that he said he was going to do is he was going to revoke the Dream Act or whatever the case was, or whatever. It wasn't he was going to revoke it. It's that he wasn't going to sign off on it again. And he was telling the Democrats that if they want something done, they need to push for comprehensive immigration reform. And none of the Democrats even presented one comprehensive immigration reform bill before he got into office. But he told you what he was going to do before he got into office. And then he got into office, and the Democrats, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, AOC, all of them clowns, they shut down the government. Excuse me for calling them clowns, but they're supposed to represent us, right? Like, and at the time I was a Democrat during that time because I didn't know no better. That was the party of my family. That's how I had been registered as, you know, when I was old enough to vote. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at these people on the TV talking about they're shutting down our government for illegal aliens that don't even vote. And I'm like, no, you're not. You can't shut the government down for some illegal aliens. You sound crazy. You didn't shut it down for me, a black man. You didn't shut it down for the plight of the black man. You didn't shut it down for the Puerto Ricans. Okay. And they had just got hit by Hurricane Maria. If they wanted to help some people that speak Spanish, there we go right there. We got our own Latinos. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Be serious with yourself. But no, they shut it down for illegal aliens. So I had to go do some soul searching. Okay. And I ended up at the Republican Party after I went and talked to all the other different parties, because in New York State at the time we had multiple different parties, but then Cuomo got rid of those. But yeah, so okay, boom. He said that he was going to not renew that. And you got mad that he did exactly what he told you to do. And he told you how to prepare ahead of time for it. He said you need to put together a comprehensive immigration bill, immigration reform. And the Democrats didn't want to do it. They still don't have a comprehensive immigration reform bill. They had 4 years of Biden. Where was the one comprehensive immigration reform bill? None, nowhere, nada, nothing, nothing at all. And somebody might say, oh, well, Marcus, they had some immigration bills. Don't play in my face. Please don't do that. Do anything but that. Okay, listen. They didn't have a comprehensive immigration reform bill. They had a couple of rejected bills that went through there where they were giving all types of crazy money to illegal aliens. And one of them was a bill that allowed illegal aliens to work for the DHS and Homeland Security, the Department of Homeland Security and Border Patrol. How you gonna have illegal aliens work on Border Patrol? That sounds crazy. That sounds crazy. This is the Democrats. The Democrats did that. That was in their whole immigration bill last time. Like, are you serious? Like, you sound dumb. But can we have that conversation? No, nobody want to have that conversation. Real quick, I got to do this real quick. So I want to remind you guys that you are listening to The Divide on WRFZ 106.3. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We are on air every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. Make sure that you tune in and tell your friends, tell your enemies, and tell everybody else that you know. Tune into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. All right. Now, if you guys are watching us online, hit the heart button, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure that you share. I see you watching. I don't see those likes. Hit the like button. Okay. And in the comments, drop a little comment. I'll do my best to talk about it, or drop an American flag. Even if you're just watching, just drop an American flag because it helps kick the algorithm. Now, you guys, we are working to raise $25 to $100 an episode so that we can get some more airtime. Okay, that's very important because airtime is not free, and we want to actually grow our show more so we can have more of the important conversations that you don't hear every day. You can donate on Cash App, $MW Real, the number one. That's Cash App, $MW Real, the digit 1. We also have Venmo and PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. So donate whichever way you can, even on givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams. Now, as we jump back into this, these are the important types of conversations that we have to have. And a lot of people aren't always going to be fond of the conversations that we have to have or we need to have. Because, you know, people are emotional creatures. There's this guy, I can't remember his name right now, Giuseppe or something maybe, that was on Boardwalk Empire. If you guys have ever watched that show about Nookie Thompson or whatever his name is, that was good in New Jersey, in Prohibition era New Jersey. Anyway, that was a good show. But he was on the show and he got really upset. Like, he was really like something was wrong with him. He was a little cuckoo in the cabeza, okay? But he was on there one time and he was a character. He said, how am I not supposed to take something personal? Am I not a person? And even though he was a little off his rocker, I had to, you know, kind of internalize that and take that in for what it was. Because the fact of the matter is, that is a valid statement. That is a valid statement. A lot of people take a lot of things personal that they really shouldn't because they are a person. And as many of us are very emotional creatures, especially the women folk. They're led and they're ruled by their emotions. But now we've got a recent history in society where many women are the ones who have been raising the children. Okay. And that's traditionally a man's job. Women are supposed to rear the children, you know, be the support behind the scenes and stuff like that. But the raising the children is up to the men. And in many families, the men aren't in the child's life enough. And that's a whole nother conversation, which is something that's very problematic in the United States of America. But we can't even talk about that. And then those men that are raised by women are now out here with other women that think that they're men, you know? And I'm sure you know, whether you're a woman or whether you're a man, you know exactly the type that I'm talking about. And it's a serious, serious issue that we need to get back to the basics and we need to address. We need to return to traditional two-parent households, father and a mother, okay? And we need to stop having all these children out of wedlock. That's a serious problem. Also, another issue is that this premarital sex is so prevalent and encouraged continuously, continuously, continuously. So many people feel pressured to have sex before marriage that's problematic. Now, we know 100% if you've had more than two partners, your marriage before you're married, you're more than 50% more likely to get divorced. That's just a crazy statistic to me. That's an insane statistic. That's like double. You're like, that's crazy. Like, and that's just above two. I'd be pretty sure that the higher that number goes, the more likely you are to get divorced. So this is something that we really need to think about. We need to think about how the children need to be taught about the importance of a comprehensive family and a two-parent household, and why adult interpersonal and intimate relationships are important within the confines of marriage. Because this whole propagation of, oh, just go out there and bang everybody and do whatever makes you feel good is nothing but the devil in our society today. Nothing but the devil. It leads to empty minds and empty hearts and sometimes empty wallets, okay? Like, this is a real serious conversation. And if we're going to restore our nation, this needs to be one of the biggest conversations that we actually have, because this, whatever you want to call it, lechery, debasement, okay, what's the other world? Like, essentially like a cult of Dionysus is what we're operating under right now. Just do whatever you can, free love and all of that all the time. Is that helping our society or is hurting our society? You know, you talk to these the psychological people, the psychiatrists or psychologists or sociologists and all of them, they'll tell you real quick, when that type of behavior is seen in human society, it's not good. It's not good. And people lose themselves and they end up feeling empty. One of my favorite songs by Her Space Holiday is a song about that. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my, I'm unable to remember the name of it off the top of my head, but his song roughly goes something like, I once knew a girl who would always give herself away, a little piece of her to every man to play, and all of this stuff. And I was listening, I was like, wow, that is a powerful, powerful, powerful rebuke of what's going on society. And it's sad. It's sad. And it was because she felt unfulfilled herself in her own life. And she felt that maybe if she could just give a little bit of happiness, and as I know that this isn't most people in general, but she felt that if she could give somebody a little bit of happiness, that maybe she was doing something positive at all. And that's sad. That's a sad, sad, sad situation. But it's a important conversation. You know, it's very important. And we need to have those type of conversations. But not enough people want to. And it's very important. Now, I want to jump into the El Salvador conversation with this Abreu Garcia dude and stuff like that, because I think that's something crazy to talk about. Let me drink some water. You guys drink water, stay hydrated, okay? Most Americans are chronically dehydrated, and it's very disappointing. We got to get more hydration in our lives. Excuse me. Now, this Abreu Garcia situation is crazy, right? So this dude is an illegal alien that's from El Salvador, that got deported to El Salvador, and they mad. You mad? And they're like, well, he didn't get due process because they're saying that he's a criminal, that he's part of MS-13, so we got to give him due process. No, you don't. Deport him. He came here illegal. That is due process. He's here illegally, right? Yeah. Okay. We all agree on that? Yeah? Okay. That's the due process right there. Everybody agrees, including himself, that he was here illegally. Send him back. It's that simple. Talking about due process. Well, maybe if El Salvador, if he's an El Salvadorian and El Salvador wants to put him in prison, that's their prerogative. We don't control El Salvador. Okay. And I know people are going to be like, well, we do control El Salvador behind the back and this in the front and all types of, ain't nobody trying to hear that. We don't control the governments of other countries and what their laws are. If El Salvador wants to put the El Salvador citizen in their jail, then that's what they do. That's their prerogative. And our court system can't say anything about it. Well, we deported him to prison in another country. No. He's their citizen. It's their prison. If they want to put him in prison, that's on them. That's their complete decision. Because since day one, when what the heck is how you say that guy's name? I don't know how you say that guy's name. Nikolai, whatever his name is. Okay, that guy from El Salvador, the president. I've been saying from day one, I'm very concerned about how they rounded up all them people and suspended the Constitution in El Salvador. But the results were good. You know, I like the results. It's a very safe place. There aren't any murders or anything right now down there. It's real safe. And it used to be the murder capital of the Western Hemisphere or whatever the case is. But see, that's a serious conversation we need to have. I didn't like that. I said there's going to be a lot of people that get swept up in those things that don't need to be in jail. But honestly, also, they had a huge gang problem and almost all of them needed to be in jail. You know, they say sometimes when you make an omelet, you got to break an egg, right? Like, and I don't like to use that metaphor in relation to people, but that's sad, but it's also true. It's also true. And now look how safe they are. That's why these Democrats want to go all over there. They want to go all over there because they're concerned about this. Man, they could care less. They see that it is politically viable for them to try to make this guy like some poster child, okay, so that they can finance their campaigns and draw crowds with their people and it'll be like, look what we can do. We concerned about illegal aliens. You need to be concerned about your constituents, fools. Like, y'all playing yourself. Like, that's crazy to me. If you guys following us right now, you can drop a comment and we'll do our best to pop it up on the screen and we can talk about it. But this is crazy to me. Like, you're supposed to represent American citizens. Y'all talking about, oh, we want to take a junket and go down to El Salvador. Not on my taxpayer money. You tripping balls. Like, you out of control. I don't want you. You want to go to a tropical paradise on American taxpayer money because you're concerned about an illegal alien, allegedly. But you really just doing it so that you can prop up yourself to make yourself look good. Use your own campaign finance money to go do it. Stop playing in my face as an American citizen. Don't spend our tax money to go over there. You ain't got no business over there, no way. But you want to go there because you know it's going to be like a vacation. Crazy madness. And people just going for it. And you're like, yeah, because we support illegal aliens and we are so compassionate and stuff like that. Okay, fine, whatever. But realize that you're being played by these elected officials talking about the daycare because they don't care. The people are nothing more than pawns on a chessboard to these people. Like, y'all don't even get it. And I wish that more of you would. Please hit the like and hit the share button and get this conversation out to more people. So today, or maybe last night, depending on where you are, El Salvador has offered Venezuela to swap prisoners. Okay, and it'll get some of their people from Venezuela, and Venezuela will take some of their people from El Salvador, which will allow Venezuela to take some of these criminal people, MS-13 and stuff they got in El Salvador and take them back to Venezuela. Because if you guys remember anything, or maybe you've forgotten, Venezuela was not taking their people back. They were denying the entry of their own people, and that is problematic. Serious business. And then Venezuela, Maduro got so much to say out his mouth. Keep your mouth shut, bro. If you're not going to take your own people, that shows exactly how serious it is. Now, I want to go back into some other things real quick, and we're going to come back to this type of topic. But you guys know that in Syria, they were blowing up Christians over the weekend, over Easter. Do you know that was happening? Do you know there were multiple bombings, Easter bombings in Sri Lanka, attacking Christians? Do you know that? No, because the news isn't talking about that. Do you know that there were multiple attacks on Christians in different countries in Africa? No. Sit and talk about that over the weekend. It's one of our highest holy months, okay, and holy times of years. The two biggest ones are Holy Week, which is the Easter week, and then Christmas week or Christmas month, depending on how you celebrate. And they do all of these bombings and attacks. Have you heard anybody say anything about that? No, no. Where are the Christians to stand up on business and protect our own faithful? The Bible talks about that, and then don't nobody seem to really want to be able to be concerned about our own people, and it's very frustrating to me. Okay, I believe very firmly that these people need to repent and turn back to the Lord. Let me read some scripture to you. Okay. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially, I'm going to read this part, Tice, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. I'm going to read that again. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. So where are all these Christians at that act like they care so much about everybody else but the Christians? They out here talking about, oh, we care about the illegal aliens. What about the Christians? Oh, we care about the Jews. What about the Christians? Oh, we care about this. We care about that. What about the actual Christians? You call yourself a Christian and you ain't concerned about what's happening to other Christians. You ain't a Christian, okay? Heretic. I said exactly what I said. Rebuke. Okay, you need to check yourself and check to see if you were ever saved, because I don't believe that you are. Okay, and I can't call it. You need to reconcile that with the Lord. Now, I got a lot to say on that. I could fill up 2 hours worth of show on that easy. But let's talk about some other stuff, because I really get very passionate about that. I have so many rebukes for the church. The church need to get back right, because the church was the founding cornerstone of our nation as the United States of America. And as we've gotten further and further away from the Lord, our Heavenly Father, we've gone in a tailspin in society. And first they took out the 10 Commandments. They took the Bible out of schools. They've taken it out of every prominent area. And then they want to push all of this Islam stuff everywhere. It's okay to do that, but it's not okay for Christianity. Get out of here. Get out of my face. Okay. Don't play with me like that. That's real crazy. That's real crazy. But can we have that serious conversation? No, it's not. Now, speaking of Africa, I did hear this week that in Ethiopia, there are 10 women to every man. And while I'm American, and I'm American Indian, I'm Black American, okay, here since before the country's been a nation, I often get that I look like I'm Ethiopian or Somalian. I said, I ain't never seen an Ethiopian or a Somalian that looked like me. I said, well, okay. But I mean, shoot, if their ratio is 10 women to every one man, and in Ethiopia, a lot of them are very, very hardcore Christian. So I'm like, maybe I need to go take a road trip, you know? Of course, you don't take a road trip to Ethiopia. You got to fly a plane or take a boat, but you know what I mean, you know? Because right now, if you're a conservative male, especially a conservative Black male, in many places in the country, it's slim pickings. Especially for me, as somebody that lives in a blue city in a blue state. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. The complete corruption of morals and values, and even the corruption of Christianity in this state, is abysmal. And I don't understand how people just let it go and don't say anything. It's very frustrating. It's very upsetting even. So we got all types of stuff going on, but they got 10 women for every man. I also heard that Japan is having breeding visas because they need more kids too. So I'm like, Hmm. Interesting prospects. And I joke because I want an American female, but I'm also like, hmm, at the same time, like that's only a half a joke. But again, culture is important, religion is important, traditionalism is important, the family, above all else, only God above the family is more important. And we need to return to the focus on both of those things. And we can improve the quality of what's going on in our nation. But far too few want that or even care about having that conversation. And I guess you would say, it's a terrible, neglectful way to be. If you don't focus on restoring Christianity as the cornerstone of America and restoring the family, we're not going to get anywhere that's in a positive manner. Things are going to continue to deteriorate. The devil's going to continue to take over. Look at the evil in all corners of our nation. Okay? They push all of this nonsense, in the educational system, you know, oh, believe this crazy stuff, they out there trying to teach 11-year-olds in New York State about anal and oral sex. How is that even a thing? Like, and don't believe me, go look it up. There's a article, one of the senators from where I am, Samara Burke, okay, was pushing a bill, and it ended up, and I don't know if it ended up getting to the floor, but I'm pretty sure it did. And they probably passed it, I'm guaranteeing you, because they got a supermajority Democrats in there. And it was about teaching kids in kindergarten and elementary school about sex ed. What are you doing? Why are you sexualizing our children? This is a senator for the other side of my area. Okay, right across the river, right there. Okay, it's crazy. Did she tell her family that she was doing that? Did she really talk to her family? Because she African. Okay, making black people look bad. Because Africans ain't black. Africans are African from whatever tribe and whatever country they're from. But when people look at her, they just see a black American, and she don't represent us. Not a lick of spit. It's despicable. You want to teach people in kindergarten, kids in kindergarten, children in kindergarten, and children in elementary school, sex ed? You're a monster. For real, for real. You're trying to propagate sexuality and sexual nature in children. That is one of the most upsetting things, because these are the same people that try to say at the same time, oh, let a kid be a kid. Okay, let the child stay in a child's place. Don't teach them critical thinking and reasoning and stuff like that. And at the same time, they'll tell you, oh, yes, pedophilia is a normal thing. It's a normal to want to be with children. And so, no, it's not. Saying crazy stuff. Boy love and girl love is okay. No, it's not. Oh, we should give pedophiles their own small dolls shaped like children, because they that way they won't act those out on children. No, that is not okay. Stop trying to normalize pedophilia. Stop trying to teach our small children in elementary school about sex ed. Stop trying to tell our boys and girls that boys don't have to be boys and girls don't have to be girls. No, that is not okay in the educational system, especially in New York State, where a vast majority of these kids that are graduating are functionally illiterate, not able to read, not able to write, and you're trying to teach them all of this other poppycock, just complete straight nonsense. And you're not even preparing them to go into the workforce or to go into college or anything like that. Like, this is a serious, serious issue, but we don't even talk about it. Many people don't even know that that's what's going on and that's happening. And they'll say, oh, no, that's not happening. That's why I tell everybody all the time. A lot of the time when I say something, I say, don't believe it because I'm saying it. Believe it because I'm telling you. And then I'll tell them, go look it up, because I honestly and earnestly want you to go look it up, because this stuff is insane. And you won't believe it unless you see it with your own eyes many times. So that's that. I got a lot to say about it. I got a lot to say about it, but we're not gonna talk about it for too much longer. We're gonna get ready to go over the stocks, because that stuff is so disgusting. It makes me want to spit. I just It's frustrating, you guys. I don't know how these people can live with themselves. I don't. It's a very, very serious problem. Somebody sent me a message. You guys can send me messages in the comments, and if you drop a comment, I can actually put it up on the screen and we can have a conversation about it. Okay? So, some other stuff that's going on is as we enter conversations in relation to the stock market, it's amazing how many people are stock experts all of the sudden. All of the sudden, they're stock experts. And it's alarming. What do the people online say? I'm not able to give you stock advice, but if I could, complete nonsense. Then you had the Democrats last week that were mad when Trump paused the tariffs, even though he already signaled that was what he was going to do. And a couple shows ago, I actually talked about that ahead of time. I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. That's what he's talking about. And I didn't end up liking what somebody just text messaged me. I'm not seeing YouTube comments. Are people commenting on YouTube? Is that what's happening? I'm not seeing those comments. Let me try to see. Let me see. Important when streaming. Oh, I got comments. I got a couple comments. Okay, you guys, I see your comments now. I don't know what was going on with that. All right. Let's see. David, I see your comment here. David says, that's great. I didn't know you were on the radio. Congratulations, brother. David, I appreciate you ever so greatly. Thank you so kindly. I appreciate you. Let me see if we've got any other comments. No, that looks like, is it? Maybe if I click that. Okay, Kevin, I see you got a comment there. Kevin says, I'm on the speakers list for Thursday evening about public safety. Dynamite, Kevin. I'm so glad. Because if you guys are just joining me, I'm always encouraging people to get active locally and attend our local meetings and stuff like that. And Kevin's saying that he's stepping up and he's going to talk about those issues. Okay. I'm going to get to the last comment in a moment. I see your text message. Okay. Thank you so much, Kevin, for getting active locally. You know how important that is, and I'm always advocating for that. Let's see who else we got. What other comments we got? We got Hazel made a comment from Twitch. Is this Twitch? Can I share that on the screen? I'm clicking it won't pop up. Oh, they're just trying to sell me something. I don't want it. Stop trying to sell me something and having important conversations. Either you want to have an important conversation or don't. Okay, let's see. David says, amen. China has always been our enemy. You know, David, and that's something that's very important, that far too few of our elected officials in the Senate and in the House of Representatives are willing to say. I don't even like it when the president gets up there, or the defense secretary, or anybody, Marco Rubio, or whatever the case is. He's the head of the Department of State. Any of them. China is our enemy. Period. Point blank. I said exactly what I said. The nation of China is our enemy. And if you haven't recognized that yet, you need to get with it. Okay? China does not have our best interests at heart. They barely got their own people's best interests at heart. Look at how they do them. Torturing them, forced organ harvesting, sex, what do you call it? Rape as a weapon of warfare against their own people. Okay, like these are known things. Like these aren't like hypothesized or iffy, willy-nilly things. This is real stuff that they do to their own countrymen. And people gonna be like, oh, well, they're not our enemy or whatever the case is. Now, Kevin's got another comment. Kevin's talking about some local stuff. He says the passage of good cause eviction in Rochester City Council had me change my party to Republican. Good for you, Kevin. Good for you finding your feet, because that's important. And you guys know, while I am a stalwart Republican, and I do believe it's very important to make sure that you're active locally and you find a party that best fits you from their traditional, specifically their origin, okay? Their traditional and foundational values and principles, which if you actually looked at the foundational values and principles of the Democrat Party, you'd be gobsmacked, because they were founded to keep slavery. That was the whole point and reason why they were founded. And then don't get me going about Andrew Jackson. You guys know I could talk about Andrew Jackson all day. That's not what we're talking about, but I'm proud of you, Kevin. I'm glad for that. Also, Andrew Jackson, if you guys don't know, Andrew Jackson was called the Indian Killer Jackson, because he pushed all of the American Indians off out of Georgia and out of the South and pushed them all onto reservations, specifically my people. Most of my people got put on reservations from Georgia area. My family, fortunately, we stayed there, but then they forced us to reclassify as Negro, and that's part of the Dawes rolls and everything like that. I encourage you guys to look that all up. That's important. But yeah, so that was the Democrats have their logo, which is jackass, because that's what Andrew Jackson was called. His nickname was the Jackass because he was so obstinately stubborn. And if you guys know today, most of the time they call a jackass a donkey, but it's the same thing. That's why it's like that, and that's also why it's kicking. So this is a serious thing. And Andrew Jackson also, if you guys don't know about the March to the Sea and the Dawes Rolls and the Indian Removal Act and stuff like that, Andrew Jackson was a Democrat, and he was the father of the Democrat Party. And the Supreme Court ruled that before the Indian Removal Act, that it was unconstitutional, and he could not remove those people off their land. And what Andrew Jackson said is this famous quote. He said, "The courts have their ruling. Now let them enforce it." And he forced all of those people off their land because he used the military to do it, because the court couldn't do anything about that. The court had their ruling. If they don't want to follow the rules, they don't got to do it. And that was a serious problem. Okay, and I got a lot to say about it, especially since it specifically impacted my family. But let's go on to the next comment. Let's see what else we got here. David says, "That's okay. They are clowns." Okay, he said that comment a little bit ago. I don't know who he's talking about, but whoever they are, I'm sure they're clowns, David. That's 100%. Let's see. Got another one. Okay, Lorraine. Yes, Lorraine, I see your comment. Why won't let me put it up there? Anyway, Lorraine sent an American flag. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for dropping that. I got to figure out why this isn't going on there. Okay. And I guess we're having some issues popping up the comments. Oh well. Somebody says, Chris says, talk about it, brother. We need to get the households back in order. You're 100% right, brother. That's a very, very important thing. We need to get the homes back in order, because that is the backbone of American society. A strong family. A strong family is the smallest, most localized form of government that you can have. If you have a strong family, then the family will not bend to the will of a repressive regime and a repressive government. And many people in our government don't want that, because imagine if people actually started standing on business. What would they do? They don't want that. They don't want you to stand on business, because they don't actually care. This is very, very important. Very important. Let's see. Chris says, some Christians don't view people that aren't a part of their denomination as Christians. So, there are some factions that consider themselves to be Christians that most others wouldn't consider Christians, and that's a big thing. So I'll give you an example. Like Mormons consider themselves Christians, and most Christians do not consider Mormons Christians at all. So that's a thing. And then you got what's another one? Seventh-day Adventists. Most Christians don't consider Seventh-day Adventists to be Christian either. So that's another thing. That is a big thing in Christianity. There are some that are just so far outside of biblical scripture that it's like they're not even like, it's essentially many of these people that claim to be denominations that aren't really denominations, that are out practicing some weird stuff that's not in the scripture. They're running either heresy, in some cases even apostasy. And yeah, no, we don't count them. We don't count them. Let's see. And Chris says, talk about it. My wife doesn't talk politics with me. I understand, brother. I understand. I understand. We can't always have those conversations. Let's see. Okay, we're catching up real quick now on the comments. Okay. Oh, I guess it won't let me post the Facebook ones, but I can post the YouTube ones. How about that? Okay. Kevin says the gas station owner is calling city council to get on the speaker list today. Absolutely. That's fantastic. I'm so glad. That's the one over there at Pinnacle Apartments, right? Right there where they got all the people hanging out selling the drugs and doing all types of crazy stuff. I'm so glad about that, Kevin. That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. Okay, let's see what else we got. Let's see. We got, let's see. All right. I don't see any more comments. Okay. Somebody said there was another comment. I don't see it. And Kevin says, yes, that's Pinnacle. Okay, awesome. All right, let's get back into the show. So thank you for showing me that there were comments that I couldn't see. I don't know what's going on with this new format that we've got on this software, but I'm glad I could actually get to some of them. Thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure you keep dropping the comments now that I know I got to do this setup a little differently. Now I can actually see them. Dave, I see you just commented. Dave says it's important to keep an open mind. Let's have a conversation about having an open mind, specifically in relation to politics. Okay. Now, I know where my principles and my values are, right? But just because I have my set principles and values and where I stand, no, I'm not going to move off my square. I'm not about to move off my square for nobody. But here's the deal. It doesn't mean I'm not going to not have a conversation with somebody or listen to somebody, especially if they're willing to participate in a conversation that's not just a one-sided thing where they're yelling at you, but an actual back and forth where you can exchange ideas and support your claims. Well, why is it that you believe that? Why do you think that's the best course of action? And that's the level of civility that we need to return to our nation and to our country, because that level of civility is completely gone. It's gone. It's disappeared. I don't have to agree with you on everything. As long as we agree on the important things, especially on the local things that are very serious issues. Like, I'll give you an example. Here where I live in Rochester, New York, right now I'm working on getting a independent line. We're going to call the independent line Community First Line. And as I'm running for city council, so I need people's help. Shameless plug. I need people's help to get the signatures and make phone calls to make that line happen. This year, we only got a couple weeks to collect all the signatures. Please go to my website, Marcus4Rochester.com, and volunteer. It's a little click box. You click the volunteer button, and it takes like 5 seconds to sign up. Okay. So that's Marcus4Rochester.com. And if you're not local, you can donate right on there. 10, 25, 50, 100, even more if you want to, whatever you can. But I'm starting this Community First Line because no matter what party you are, there are many commonalities with us across party or across registration. One of the biggest growing demographics in our city right now that makes up almost 30 something percent of the population that's registered to vote is the independent, like non-registered party, blank, as we call them, blank affiliation. So that's because they see that not everything on every party is going to be the way that we want. But we're not going to agree on everything, right? But what I always encourage is let's come together and unite on the things that we can agree on. Like public safety is a paramount thing that we need to focus on. Education, that's a huge thing. That impacts everything. Education impacts everything in our community. It impacts the ability to bring companies here and create more jobs. It impacts the amount of people that are homeowners and how they can purchase homes and stuff like that because they have access to good jobs and stuff like that. It impacts the crime because people that are better educated and see opportunities for their future are less likely to participate in crime. All types of stuff like that. Then the housing issues, we've got a ton of different housing issues, rental issues. We've got property, like I said earlier, property ownership issues and stuff like that. The big things that we can agree on, and bringing more jobs and companies and fostering small businesses here in our city. That's why I'm starting the community first line, but I need people's help to make this happen. Because when we see these issues that we all agree on, we need to unite on the issues that we agree on. Even if I wouldn't agree with somebody on something else, these issues, as long as we're in alignment with these issues right here, that we need to address these issues that are affecting every single person, no matter of their race, no matter of their gender, no matter of their gender identity. Okay. And you guys know how I feel on those type of things. Okay. Like, but it doesn't matter on these issues. These issues are things that affect everybody. And that's why I'm pushing to make this community first independent line in our city in Rochester, New York. So please, if you're local, okay, please go on my website, volunteer. It only takes a couple of seconds to sign up. Marcus, the number 4rochester.com. That's Marcus, the number 4rochester.com. And you can sign up right there. And if you're not local, please donate. You don't even got to be local to donate. And let's check out, see if we got any more comments. No, that was, it looks like it's the last comment for now. But as we go down this road together of working to seize on the future and fix it, we have to have more serious and real conversations. And that's why I'm so thankful to our Lord and Father in heaven above, okay, that I am able to do this radio show with you all and actually share these important conversations that we need to have. I don't figure that we'll agree on everything. I don't even know if we'll agree on what coffee or tea, you know? Maybe you put milk in your tea. Maybe you put tea in water. You know, I don't even know if we'll agree on that. But whatever it is, there are certain things that we can't agree on. And regardless of that, we need to be able to have open conversations, especially about the things that many people don't consider or topics that aren't talked about very often. And we see that all far too often. Far too often. And now, more than ever, it's become a very big issue. A very, very, very big issue. You know, the next biggest issue I'd say up and coming is AI and its impact on jobs. But can we have that conversation? Because this goes back to the whole conversation in relation to creating an opportunity to thrive in the future for people and stuff like that. We need to prepare our people, especially the youth, for the future that's coming. And largely that's going to be an automated system that's run by machines and AI. So we need to focus on trades. And I hate to say it like that. I know the trades aren't for everybody, but a lot of the trades are going to be less likely to go away. However, I have seen a roofing robot, and that blows my mind. I saw this roofing robot. It's not there yet. It is, right? For some people, I'd never use that on my house. That looks crazy. But it doesn't do a good enough job for me. Plus, I believe in either metal or slate roofs. And depending on where you live, if you can do the, what do you call it? Like the moss roof or the straw roof, I think those are good too. It's all about the resonance with your, with the universe, right? With the earth, right? Like, and I say that tongue in cheek, but I'm also serious, right? But I've seen those new automated shingle placing robots that can do a roof in like 2 days or 1 day, and it's crazy. I don't like it. I don't like it because it's not ready yet. But I guarantee you, in another year, 2 years, oh boy, that robot's going to be more better than anybody that you could ever hire. You just start investing now, right? So, but plumbing will probably be a good one, and electric work will be a good one to stick by. Plus, they got really strong unions, and that means that I'm pretty sure that those trade unions will be able to keep those industries alive for a long time. Now, I don't know about new construction. New construction for plumbing and electrical. Some of that might get automated depending on the techniques that they use to start constructing newer houses. But again, these are industries that we can refocus on and see what the up and coming opportunities are going to be that we can actually train the youth for and retool many of the people that are in the working environment right now, because many people's jobs are starting to go away. Look at McDonald's. It used to be a great place, what they say, America's best first job, right? And now the jobs there, they've got whole McDonald's and whole Wendy's and stuff like that that are completely automated, run by machines. They got like one person to load up the burger stuff and stuff sometimes. That's it. That's it. Everything else is automated. So we need to see what's coming and we need to get prepared. But in order to get prepared, we got to have elected officials that are looking and forward thinking, that are willing to actually start addressing some of these issues. And most of them don't want to. I mean, I got to be honest. I've talked to a number of different unions and stuff like that, and they don't even see it as an issue. They're stuck thinking like the robots and the AI are like 10 years ago. And I'm like, it's like 20 years in the future compared to what you think. Like it's happening so fast and so rapidly. And I've talked about this before. The what do you call them? The CBO said by 2030 that they're going to take a vast majority of the jobs. That's only 5 years away, you guys. 5 years. People need to wake up now, because we're going to have to start the structure. And now, again, I'm conservative, I'm a traditionalist, but I also see that there's some things in the future, in the direction that we're going to need to retool and change, because what we've done in the past isn't going to work, because that's not the way our society is structured right now. Like, I honestly believe that universal basic income is something that we're going to need to put together some way to do that. But before we even get on that path, we need to focus on lowering medical expenses and lowering housing costs for general properties and stuff like that. Otherwise, everything's going to be for naught, because everything's going to cost way too much. And the money's going to be all in the hands of a few people, and everybody else is going to be stuck and out of luck, just like Tekken. Go look up the Tekken, like the background on Tekken, how the Tekken tournament ended up coming to be. Like, the history of that world in that setting is exactly the direction that we're going. Okay. And I firmly believe that. And I believe that it needs to be averted at all costs. And I also encourage you to check out that TV show. Oh my goodness. What was it? It had one season and it was far too close to reality. And so they canceled it. Oh my goodness, I wish I could remember. Incorporated, that's what it was called. Incorporated. Watch it, find it before they take it offline completely. The series is called Incorporated. You got to watch it. It's so close to where we are presently that it mimics reality so closely that they canceled it. It had rave reviews. It won all types of rewards, but they canceled it. Why did they cancel it? Because it was too close to the reality that we are coming into. You've got to watch it. You got to watch it. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you got to watch it. It's only one season. It's good. Watch it, and then next week when I go on the show, you tell me about what you experience with it, because it's only a couple of episodes. But the direction that we're going is not very good. I see all of this expansion of the surveillance and security state, and I'm not a fan. That's why I say we got to focus local. If it's up to me, I am advocating very thoroughly for the restoration of city states. Okay, I believe our city, specifically Rochester, needs to be functioning almost autonomously from any other outside influence or outside resources. The majority of everything that we need, we should be producing right here in our city. Okay, that's where I stand by, because I see what's coming in the future. And if we're not able to do that, it's going to be a bad situation. It's not going to be good. So we really, really, really got to get this stuff together. We really, really, really do. So as we continue along this path to chart a brighter future for all of us together, we have to get active locally. And I thank you for the people that are watching my show that are starting to step up. I get messages from you guys talking about you're going to your city council meetings, you're going to your town council meetings. That means a lot to me. I'm so glad that you are getting active. If you guys are watching right now, real quick, hit the thumbs up, hit the share button, and get this out to more people, because these are the conversations that we need to be having. And remember, every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. on WRFZ 106.3 FM, you can catch us here on the radio, or you can catch it wherever you're following us online. And if you're on the radio and you can't get to the radio, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, the Marcus C. Williams channel. The show will always be on there, and we're going to keep this moving along. So we're in April right now? Let's see, April, we're almost May, right? May, June, July, August, September, November. We're about 6 months away from our local elections here locally. And people going to have to get active. Nothing's going to happen to make a difference if people don't get active. You know, I'm as I said earlier, I'm a Republican. and we secured the conservative line this year, which is fantastic. So I'm going to be on the conservative line for the city council run this year, but I'm also working on securing a independent line so I could use your guys' help. Please volunteer or donate on my website, marcus4rochester.com. I need you guys' help collecting signatures and so that we can get this community first line on the ballot. So please do volunteer on my website. It takes like 2 seconds. Marcus4rochester.com. And if you're not local, you can donate. Okay, from wherever you are, you can donate right on the website. But the thing is this: we didn't get enough signatures in enough time to get on the Republican ballot. Yes, the weather was a very serious problem. Yes, the Democrats outnumber us here in the city 6-1, which is crazy because we had to get like 537 signatures or something like that. We really got to get like 1,000 so that if people try to say, oh, well, those don't count or whatever. Okay. But the Democrats only had to get 1,000 signatures. Now, if our ratio is we're 6-1, how is that even fair? How is that even fair? They had to get 1,000 signatures compared to our 500, and they outnumber us 6-1. So I saw people out there talking crap, talking about, oh, well, look at them. Why is this happening? Why couldn't that be done? Oh, that's not that much. You guys haven't ever been out trying to collect signatures, especially in the middle of the winter and the snow and stuff like that. I got videos of me out there collecting signatures in the snow and stuff like that. The crazy weather that we have in the middle of end of February, middle of March. Like Rochester is a monster. They did that. They pushed it used to be in June was the signature collection, but they pushed it back to the beginning of the year so that it would be more difficult for people to get signatures. And that's a challenge, especially when everybody cares so much on the internet. Everybody cares so much on the internet. Oh, I don't like what's happening in the community. I don't like the drugs. I don't like the crime. I don't like the education system. I don't like these Democrats. That's what they say online, right? Well, you got to vote Republican. Well, where are you? Where are you standing up to get active to do something? None of y'all wanted to volunteer, but now y'all want to picture fit online talking about, oh, well, we didn't get anybody on the Republican line. Well, I'm still on the conservative line, and we're working to push this community first line because I believe it doesn't matter what party you're in. It matters on the focus of the issues of the community. So do volunteer on my website, Marcus4rochester.com. But the fact of the matter is not enough people that feel some type of way about what's going on are willing to pitch in and volunteer. If you want something to change, nobody is coming to save us. Nobody's coming off the cloud. Nobody's coming out the ground. Nobody's coming from another state. It's up to us here to do what is necessary. And that means get active, donate, whatever you can do. But so few people actually are willing to do that, even though they say that they care. And that's kind of frustrating. And it's upsetting, honestly. It's really, really a problem. Like if half of the people out there online that complain on these posts from the news or on their pages and stuff like that, listen, there was a post the other day about this car that drove over this lady, right? And it got like, I don't know, something like 627 likes and hearts and stuff like that. Okay, and people were all up and through there talking about, oh, these criminals should be in jail. Oh, this is what happens voting Democrat and all of this stuff and all that stuff. But where were you? Where were you to volunteer when we're running for office to get the signatures that we need to help donate and stuff like that? Where are you? You care so much. 627? Shoot, if we got 1/10 of that, right? 1/10 would let's just call it 60 people to help collect signatures. We get signature in 3 hours. We get all the signatures we need. That's just 10%, And I did everything, okay, but sound a trumpet, okay, to try to get everybody to know that this was very important, that they needed to help out, But where was everybody? Nowhere to be found. Now here's the opportunity for anybody from any party, from any background to help out, get these signatures and collect signatures to help get me on the community first line, an independent line. And it doesn't matter what party you're on, Democrat, Republican, you can help out and you can volunteer so we can make a real change in our city, restore real leadership, and new leadership, because it's very clear that we don't even have any right now. And they don't care about the community. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. And that's why I'm running. And that's why I fight so hard to work to make a difference and encourage others every single day, because it's not about me. It's about us, and it's about our future and creating opportunities for people to thrive in our community, because I love my city. Wouldn't be anywhere else. I love my city, and I want to see us flourish for the future. But in order to do that, you guys got to help me get in office. I'm not able to do it alone. I'm not. And I do my best. I try my hardest, and I put in all the effort that I can till I can't no more. Okay. And I've spent way too much of my own money over the last couple of years working on running for office to try to make a difference, because I see the pain and the suffering and I'm sick and tired of it. So I need your help. Go on my website, volunteer, donate. Even if you're not local, you can donate. Marcus4Rochester.com. That's what I got for you guys today. You be blessed and be well. And remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Be blessed and be well. All right, you guys. We are off air, you guys. So here's my conversation to you. If you're not local to Rochester area, please get involved wherever you live. Okay. Find a good candidate. Maybe there is no good candidate. Maybe you run, right? Maybe you can't run, but you join a local committee, whether you're Democrat or Republican. Usually there's a local committee, which is the smallest level of participation you can get involved with on the local level, and they'll key you in on a lot of stuff that's going on politically. So wherever you are, seek out your local committee for whether you're Democrat or Republican or whatever. If you're in some other places, in other states, they might even have third parties like the Libertarians or the Green Party or whatever, or the Reform Party and stuff like that. Seek out your local committee, okay, and see if you can get more involved. And if that's not something you want to do, go to like local school board meeting or town council, city council, whatever, in fire district, whatever floats your boat. Especially school board is one of the biggest issues that needs to be addressed. So they need more people out there in those different things, going to see what's going on and holding these people accountable. Because if nobody's holding our elected officials accountable, they're just going to do whatever they want. They're going to do whatever they want. They're going to continue to ramrod us, serve themselves, put money in their pockets and in their offshore accounts and stuff like that. And it's a problem. But it's a problem that's not going to get addressed until we actually start to get more active. It's up to us. There's nobody else. It's us who have to do it. And when you see somebody in your area that's willing to stand up, that's willing to speak up, and you believe that their focus is right, support them. Help them out. Whether that means making phone calls or collecting signatures or knocking doors or whatever you can do. Even if you can only donate. Campaigns don't run on pixie dust. You know what I'm saying? Campaigns need money to run. So if you're not able to volunteer your time, donate. But don't get online and pitch a fit and say, oh, woe is me. Oh, everything's bad. Oh, nothing is going to change. No, nothing's going to change unless you get up to change it. If you don't like the TV channel, you better get the remote or something and change it. It's up to you. It's not going to go on and change itself. Maybe Netflix, right? Because Netflix will be like, are you still watching? But still, it's not going to actually change it. These are serious issues that we need to address. And in order for us to address them, we have to have these conversations and get active. So I encourage you guys, please share this, share it on your page, share it on your friend's page, drop a heart, drop a thumbs up, drop a care emoji, drop an American flag in the comments, okay? Because if you drop an American flag, it still helps kick the algorithm, okay, to get it out to more people, because these are the important conversations that we need to have. And I'll catch you guys on The Divide with Marcus C. Williams next Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m. And also go check out that movie that TV show I was talking about, Incorporated, because that is definitely showing us exactly the direction that we're going. That's why they canceled it so early. I'll catch you guys later. Be blessed and be well. And remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action.